Okay, so this is going to be a video tutorial on how to import the labeled dots and the clean dots and the gap-filled dots that we've finished in Vicon Nexus into MotionBuilder to start creating animations. So first thing we need to do is double-click on the icon for MotionBuilder and start it up, and you'll see this nice demon character who is our MotionBuilder friend. And so this window here is worth watching some of the stuff. Take some time, first time through, read it, watch it. But for now, I'm just going to show you what we're going to be doing. Okay, so first we go to File, the File menu, and we want to import. We want to import from the My Documents directory. We want to go to our Vicon Intro to Mocap, Session 1, and this is going to be where we have the files. And you're going to see in here some C3d files. You're going to see the demo moves. You're going to see a T-pose, and I've actually processed to this point the range of motion trowel as well. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open the T-pose. We say open for that. We want to import from file. You may see this checked by default. We want to uncheck that, create unused optical segments. We don't need that. We want to keep the actor prefix, and we want to say leave this stuff alone for now. We may change it later, but for now just go with the defaults. Say import, and we'll see our dots. Okay, so now you need a brief introduction to the 3D navigation within MotionBuilder. So there's a menu system in the viewer window. This is going to be the producer perspective, you'll notice that, and again you'll see the kind of 3D planar surface defined here. Okay, so if we want to rotate left or right, we left click on this icon and move left or right. We can go up or down to rotate. We can pan, same thing, click on this icon, up, down, left, right. We can pan forwards and backwards in the Z-axis as well, depending on which angle we're looking from. So if we rotate this way, we can pan back and forth. If we're this, if we're this way, we can pan again in or out. That's just going to be one way. We can also zoom though, and this is going to, you'll see it'll change your field of view down here at the bottom when you do that, whereas the pan in or out tool does not do that. There's also this world rotate tool, and I don't really like to use that, so let's just not use that. If you want to use it, feel free to go ahead and use it. Okay, there's also shortcut keys that you don't have to use this menu. You can set them a couple of different ways. You can go to the settings, keyboard configuration. I like to use Maya shortcuts, but if you're more familiar with Lightwave, you can use that, or you can use the built-in MotionBuilder ones. I'm going to show you the Lightwave one, Maya ones for right now. Basically, the way it works is the buttons work the same as in Nexus. So left button is for zoom, but in this case, you have to hold the Alt button on the keyboard while you rotate. Left or right, up or down. So again, that's hold Alt, push the left mouse button, move up, down, left or right. Okay, if you hold the middle mouse button, being careful not to roll the mouse, the wheel, we can pan up, down, left, right, again, by holding the Alt button on the keyboard. If we hold the Alt button on the keyboard and press the right mouse button, we can zoom in or out by moving the mouse up or down. Okay, so again, very similar to how Nexus works, and if you're familiar with other 3D programs, also very similar, and you can actually have some freedom and adjust it to how you like it. But moving along, we need to start to deal with our dots here. So what are we going to do? Okay, well what we want to do, in this case, this is going to be a T-pose. Okay, so our T-pose, we can have our scrub bar here, and we can scrub through and notice that, again, the T-pose doesn't really do a whole lot. And that's fine because it is a T-pose. But we need to make a template again. And the template that we're going to use here is a little different than what we've been doing before. So I'll show you how to set that up. The first thing we need to do is look at our asset browser here. Okay, now by default, I should tell you that we're going to be starting in, if we go up here to the File menu, you're going to be in the Editing menu. Sometimes you won't be, depending on how you save. You might be in the Animation Creation, so on and so forth. If you go to the window, you can always open the asset browser from here in any of the other layouts. But for doing this, I recommend starting in the Editing Layout function. Anyway, that'll give you access to the asset browser. From here, we need to click on Characters, and you can change the way that you view small icon, actually details, icons, or other details, which I don't really find all that necessary to use, so I just like the small. Anyway, what we're going to focus on right now is the actor. So we click on the actor, holding the mouse button in, we drag it and drop it into our viewer. Okay, and you'll notice by doing that, it adds in this kind of gray character looking guy who is our actor. Okay, so now we notice one thing, that the actor is always going to be lined up perfectly on the in the origin. Now you might wonder, well, I need to rotate around to see this. That's true, but what I want to do right now is I want to split this window into 4 parts. So how do we do that? We go to the viewer, go to the view menu in the viewer, we can go to the viewer layout, and you'll see there's shortcut keys, Control 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to use 4 panes because I want to be able to see the front, the right, and the top at the same time when I line him up. Okay, so I'm going to get the scrub bar out of the way, and for now I'm going to move the navigator window out of the way. And I'm going to move my asset browser over here, and I'm just going to enlarge this a bit so that I have a little bit better view of what's going on. Okay, now I'm going to click in the producer window to activate that window. You'll see it's active by the white line around it. You can, if I click over here, you can see the same thing. Now what we want to do is we want to display, and we want to only show the model, and that's going to hide our dots temporarily. Okay, so what we want to do is now we want to drag a box by left mouse clicking around the actor to select the whole actor. We could have also done this over here by control selecting all of these, but I think this way is a little faster. So then, now that we have that selected, we're going to move this actor inside of the dots so it matches up a little better. So now we have to figure out what these tools do over here. Okay, so this tool here is our translate tool, or our move tool, and you'll see that it comes up with these little tools, and you'll see that there's definitions of the different axes. Okay, so red in this axis is going to move the character that way, and you'll notice that I'm lining things up here first. Then what we'll do is we'll pull him forward, try to get him inside the dots a little bit better, and you'll notice that over here it's fairly good. I'm just going to center him up in the center a little bit, and I think that's pretty good. Okay, now the other thing we're going to notice here is that our actor is just a little bit too tall with respect to our dots. So now we're going to go, and this is the scale tool, and that's going to, if we mouse over this, it'll say scale uniform. You can actually scale in different directions, and I'm going to Control Z to undo what I just did. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is I want to scale uniformly for right now. And I'm going to select the yellow button to do that, and I'm just going to reduce the whole character down a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is I notice I lifted him up off the ground, so I'm going to look here and I'm going to place him back down on the ground. I'm going to use my zoom function and my pan function to make sure that I did indeed place him on the ground. Our toes are a little bent here, but that's okay. We can fix that later, but I think this is pretty good. Okay, so I think he's lined up fairly well inside the dots. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to unselect our translate tool. We're going to double click in the window to unselect the entire actor. We're going to go back over to this window, select this window. We're going to click on display, and we want to show normal because we want to see our dots again in this window. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to continue to fine-tune our character so it's even better inside the dots. So you see it's close, but it's not perfect. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use this little character control window here, and I'm going to select parts of the character. And I'm going to continue to use my manipulators here. In this case, I want to rotate. And you'll see that we get these nice rotating manipulators that I can rotate the legs out. And then you'll see that that rotates the whole leg. But as we go down the chain, we can rotate it back in a little bit so that it fits a little bit better inside the dots. We want to make sure not to